Da-dum-dum-da-dum. Come on. Hey! Hello, everybody, and welcome to a ho-ho-ho back of the grid special as we come for Failcast F1's end of 2020 season roundup with myself, Mr. Bulkenberg, bulking up on Cadbury celebrations during this stream. And alongside me is the Mercurial, definitely Zero. How are you doing, good sir?
Pip, pip, old boy. I'm doing remarkably well. My internet less so. And the keen-eyed amongst you will perhaps already have noticed that there's no Twitch stream for this episode. That's a disaster that we can talk about later. Other than that, though, everything's pretty good. I've got my ice-cold Red Bull with me, and we are at Monaco. So, trauma, I suppose, is the word. Neither of us has a good setup. We're both appalling here every year. So, what more could we ask for in an end-of-season Failcast special?
Exactly.
A track we're both terrible at, with no setup and very little preparation. But we do have a big bucket of news, so, the whole thing balances out.
Yeah, indeed. Mainly because... it shows how long it's been since I played the game. I'm sitting there trying to press X on my name as if to ready up, and it's not. It's trying to mute me. This bodes well. This bodes well. Yeah, I tell you what. We had life get in the way for a couple of episodes, and the entire world of F1 has exploded, literally, for some people, across a Bahrain track.
For ages, we've been padding episodes out with, fucking non-news, and then all the news happens in a 3-week period where we don't have the opportunity to do an episode.
I feel like Netflix are like, should we just do season 3 and 4 this year? That's how much news is going on. Where do we begin? Where
indeed do we begin? Oh, well, actually, first of all, as is customary, I'm going to talk about something non-F1 related, a little bit of an anecdote for you.
Joy.
So, I spent the last week in Sweden.
Look gorgeous on your Instagram.
Because fuck this noise. I've been living in the same 2 rooms for 10 months. Completely had enough. So I fucked off to Sweden, where COVID is happening, but in sort of a very abstract kind of way. Like, they're vaguely aware of it. Like, they've heard of it. They've heard people talking, but it's not really something they concern themselves with. So, bars close early, but aside from that, no one wears a mask. Social distancing is kind of, vaguely advised.
Oh, we've lost you there. Oh, disconnected. No! Have I had an internet failure? Ben Williamson cannot perform voice chat due to connection. This is how Failcast works, people. I can see I'm still live. Definitely Zero has left the party. So he has had a new router delivered. So this is why there is general drama going on. Event in progress. Can you get back in again? I've never had this happen on F1. F1 2020. We'll have to get this in and see what happens. Oh, he's become an AI. How does that work? There's always carnage at some point during Failcast. We'll see if we can get him back in again. And hopefully after a bit of a reboot. I don't know what he was going to talk about with Sweden, but... in my build-up, I too have been spending an awful lot of time spent in just one flat for my entire life. This year, I have seen a total of 3 people in person all year. My parents and my other half during the break between lockdowns, but now we're both separated in different Tier 3 areas. I'm sure to be Tier 4 soon. It'll be a weird Christmas. I was saying, actually, I just dropped off all the rest of my family's presents over at my parents' this morning. And my dad's in the vulnerable category, so he's all like, we're doing presents exchange in the porch. It's so strange. And I was like, don't just like dust these presents off and like wet wipe them because they're electric. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, I completely understand people going absolutely cray nuts with getting stuck in the same 3 or 4 walls. I hear a Definitely Zero joining back in the party.
Hello, I'm sorry, that's my... Have we now completely lost Monaco?
No, I'm back in the lobby as if it's going to put us straight back into quali again because I disconnected at the same time.
Oh, was that a problem on both our sides? Because I know for me, the issue is my internet company sent me this new router insisting that I need it, and all it's done is fuck up my internet.
I'm fine, but I think because it booted you out and there's only me left as the only single person, like human, it just booted me back to the menu.
Oh, so if I'm very sorry about that, everybody. Let's dive back in and hope my internet holds out.
Fingers crossed.
So,
get a new hamster.
As I was saying, Sweden. Yeah, they don't really give a shit, and that meant I had a wonderful time. Now, you may remember that I was telling you on the last episode that there's a rule that whenever you take a taxi, the taxi driver has to be a bit unhinged. And I think I told you about my last taxi ride, which was to a Halloween party, and when we pulled up to the traffic lights, this perfectly friendly and amiable taxi driver slowly looks back at me over his shoulder with like a quizzical look on his face and just asks me in the middle of a conversation about something else, how long has cancer been around? as if I would fucking know. But yeah, I was on my way to the airport in Stockholm. Lovely taxi driver, could not have been nicer. Very, very friendly bloke. But then he just decides to announce that essentially his theory boils down to this. The world is in the thrall of a global cabal of influential shadow figures, and while they spent the 20th century starting wars to make themselves rich, they can't really get away with that anymore, so instead they fabricated a pandemic in order to subject us all to a new system of control and further enrich themselves. And the first half of the taxi ride had been lovely, but then the second half was just this. And the way he was saying it, like, so casually, like, steering with one arm, he's like an old guy, like, in his 60s, and like a proper cheerful, like, Werther's original advert grandad.
Pandemics are special like, too, you know.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. It was mwah. It was beautiful. It was phenomenal.
I love how you attract nutters every day. I'm so proud.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like they seem to have a compass sense for me. Like if I'm at like a tram stop or a train station and there's one person there who's pissed their pants and is talking to a cup of yogurt, you can guarantee that they'll suddenly get an urge to become my best friend. It happens every time. They'll walk past crowds of other people to single me out. Further evidence that the universe targets me specifically.
Super.
As we have long known. I mean, anyone who doubts that theory can look at my season on this podcast last year to see the universe targets me specifically. Anyway, big bag of news. There is so very much to cover, but I think why don't we start with the easiest stuff? Because we've got races to talk about, and it's going to be a bit of a squeezy episode, I'm afraid, everybody. So we might not be going as in-depth in our analysis as we usually try to do. So why don't we start and go backwards a little bit?
A bit like hats.
The most recent announcement is, of course, that Sergio Perez has been signed to partner Max Verstappen.
Yay!
Yeah, some would say that's kind of a no-brainer. I will say I do feel a bit bad for Alexander Albon. You know, fair's fair, he did get a full season, but I honestly... Oh, shit. That's no good. This setup is bollocks. This setup is bollocks. How badly have I damaged my car there? Oh, not that badly.
I do feel bad for Albon in part but it's less about speed. It's more about consistency, and it's a shame when you're having to demonstrate how good you are coming back for a field that you shouldn't have been going down to begin with. And that's my issue with Albon. I do like the fact that he's been put into a reserve role, which implies there may be trouble ahead. There might be something for him in the future, because Perez is a 1-year deal, and I've heard a little birdie say that he quite fancies being the spearhead of a rebuild at Williams from 2022 onwards. So if that's going to be where that goes, that opens the door potentially for Albon to sneaky back in again at a later point.
That is surprising. Why would he want to, at this stage in his career? I wonder why he would want to go back to Williams. That seems a bit odd to me. I would have thought like it's a 1-season deal at Red Bull because it's kind of embarrassing for them to have to go outside their driver program, and that they want some guarantee of performance. Because this is something I was pondering on earlier, and I do wonder if this could be a poison chalice for Checo. Because let's be honest, right? Both. That was completely by accident for the third time. But yeah, let's be completely honest. Gasly and Albon are not really that slow compared to Max. I just think that Red Bull has been built for Max.
Absolutely.
And I'll be curious to see like what happens at Red Bull if Checo has the same performance differential or a similar one to both Gasly and Albon. And let's not forget, by the way, that Albon did a shitload better than Gasly in that car. Like at least he was qualifying in the top 10, which Gasly struggled to more than a few times.
That is true. Buggered the front wing. Nadjas. So I agree, but I don't think that then looks bad on Checo. I think that would then basically show that Red Bull is favouring Max to the point where no one can sit in that second seat unless they have an identical driving style. And that actually then shows up Red Bull as being so lopsided that it could never actually fight for a Constructors' Championship, and that they need to then rethink how they act and play in the future. So I think Checo's got nothing to lose, because we know that there is such a history of what he can and can't do, that if he does sink, that's a Red Bull problem, not a Checo problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just wonder if he wouldn't rather sit... Like, he seemed kind of keen to take a year out, actually, when you heard him speak. He seemed a little bit excited by the thought of that.
He's got a little nipper.
Yeah, and I sort of wonder if, it wouldn't have done him good and he comes back refreshed, because it's... I don't know, it's such a messy thing. Like, getting into a car next to Max Verstappen, knowing that they favour him so much, are you really going to get a fair shake? Are you going to get the support you need within the team? Can you form a bond in 1 year? And really, what I feel really bad for him for is that I honestly think Aston Martin could become a championship contending force. Mm-hmm. And he's been at that team for what, 7 years?
Yeah.
I mean, he's their Max. The car must surely have been essentially built for him. And to have that taken away from him after all he's been through, just so it can be handed to the owner's son on a silver platter, that riles me quite a bit. Because honestly, if you think about it, they've got a brand new factory coming online. They're financially solvent. Mercedes power unit. They have a car that's clearly capable of winning races already this year. Yeah, the whole thing's just a bit wacky. And also, it makes me doubt Red Bull's future, because you may already recall a conversation we had in the past, which was Helmut Marko had said something in passing that basically, if Red Bull took a driver outside the junior driver program, Dietrich Mateschitz wasn't so keen on continuing to fund it. Because Dietrich is not particularly happy that all the rising stars since Max Verstappen have all been duds. Which they haven't really. They just haven't been a new Max Verstappen.
No, but you can't have lightning in a bottle over and over and over again. And those people, like the discarded pile that they continue to go through. You've got like Verne, Buemi, busy being rock stars in Formula E. Then Al Jaswari is busy actually making the DJ party afterwards. There's so many people that were decent peddlers. You can't have the reason why Max is so lauded and like has so much smoke blown up his arse is because he is one of a generation. They just need someone to be within a couple of tenths of him, and that's fine, which Albon showed that he could do on occasion. But then if you completely favour... For me, this is all about who can have a driving style that is similar to Max and can live with a car that is in that realm, and that would probably make them closer to Max rather than someone with outright performance. It will drive them down weird development holes and development corners, but at least it would have a happy camp. And you're right about what you say about Perez having problems maybe with it being favoured for one team, because that car will be so far down development now that there's no chance that anything will be built to suit him, will it?
No, and it's already, as we've seen, a very difficult car to handle.
Yeah.
I mean, it spins on a whim, even in the hands of Verstappen. It's not a particularly stable machine, to be honest.
No.
It's fast in a fairly narrow range of conditions, and in a very circuit-specific kind of way. And the thing is, I think Red Bull's a team that's on its way out. So, I mean, if you want to hear my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, here it is. Perez on a one-season deal. Maybe Albon comes back after that, or they keep Checo. But they've dropped Daniel Kvyat again, fired for the fourth or fifth time now.
Poor guy.
After a season where he does not deserve to be fired, I think he's had a really good season.
Yep.
And his efforts have clearly moved that car along. But they've given a seat to Yuki Tsunoda, who, from what I can tell, doesn't necessarily deserve it based on his record.
Honda.
And the only reason he's in there, I think, is to get Honda to give up the IP for their engine, so Red Bull don't have to go crawling back to Renault.
Yep. Great shout.
But Red Bull have neither the cash nor capability to develop that power unit. It will be fine in 2022 when the power unit regs are basically frozen, but I think... When does the Concord Agreement expire?
Ooh. I'm going to say 2025, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they'll at some point cash out between 2022 and 2025. Now the team licenses have value. I think they'll cash out. It'll start with the Red Bull Junior Driver Development Program being wound down. They'll offload AlphaTauri at some point in the next 4 years.
Oh, I wonder how much of AlphaTauri as a brand is even making, because no one still seems to know what the bloody hell they make.
Half my wardrobe is from them, actually, but I can't say it's totally worth the money. The items are very nice until you've washed them about 3 times.
Ouch. That sucks. Interesting. Because up until Friday, I would have said that the Mercedes team is more likely to be on its way out. But now that Ineos is now stuck in a 1/3 stakehold of that kind of makes me go that perhaps Mercedes may not always be like the name above the door, but at least that entry is kind of safe in the hands of whatever and awkward conglomerate wants to own it at the time.
Well, I mean, something's definitely happened there, right? Because I think this is some sort of compromise, because Toto Wolff seemed pretty unequivocal that he didn't want to lead that team anymore.
Yeah.
Like, really, really clear. And then suddenly, like, he owns 1/3 of it already.
Yep.
And suddenly this Ineos deal is announced, and then he signs a 3-season deal to continue.
Yeah.
But what that means is, I mean, people look at it like, oh, the team's, been invested in, that's good. But I think we can't overlook the fact that that investment has come at the cost, if you will, of Mercedes putting one foot out the door.
Yeah.
Because they're no longer the majority shareholder, they're an equal partner.
Agree.
I think what we're seeing right now is something like very clear and very exciting, that we have teams that are, I think, on the verge of a decline, which I would definitely put Red Bull and Mercedes on that pile. I'd say Ferrari have already started their slump, and I'm not sure they're going to get out of it next year.
No.
And then we have teams that are clearly in the ascendancy, because, I mean, you have to fancy McLaren for a run next year.
Their Abu Dhabi pace really surprised me, to be like 3/10 off of pole with Norris. I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
And
delightful.
Then next year they've got Mercedes power as well.
Yeah,
now, provided that power unit doesn't mess up the balance of the car or whatever, I mean, I'd say for me, the McLaren has to be in the running as one of the options for car of the year. Because it wasn't like the Renault, which has come good towards the end of the season. McLaren's been fairly consistently good all season.
Mm-hmm.
It's been maybe not as fast as the Racing Point outright, but the Racing Point has the best engine on the grid and has struggled with reliability and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you took Mercedes out of, I mean, I don't know, maybe the McLaren is actually my car of the year. Because Mercedes, you can't really look at that with any sense of surprise at all. It had such an inbuilt advantage, which incidentally seems to have come down a bit. Like, it doesn't look as dominant as it was.
Only in 2 of the 3 drivers' hands.
Yeah. Which is definitely something else that we have to talk about.
Yes.
I think I would actually probably say the McLaren is my car of the year. Because the Red Bull's only good in Max's hands. The Ferrari's up and down like a horse draws. The Renault has come good towards the end of the season, but I think that's more the drivers adapting to it than the car genuinely improving. The Haas is a pile of shit. The Williams is a Williams.
Getting better, which is nice. And it's good to see that they've... I've forgotten the guy's name who they've announced as being...
Jos Capito.
That's the one. I was like, it's not Jos the boss. That's why.
Well, he is the boss.
Jos Capito. Yeah, he is the boss.
Oh, see,
Josception.
you were right. You were right all along. You've got to trust your instinct after 11 seasons, Simon. You were right. Yeah, although to be honest, he didn't do a very good job at either McLaren or VW, as I remember. I mean, I think he had a bit of luck at VW, but didn't he preside over McLaren's worst slump in God knows how long?
Quite possibly, yeah.
Because wasn't he brought on between Whitmarsh and Brown?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, Whitmarsh I hold wholly responsible for McLaren's decline, but also Ron Dennis I think has his part to play. But Jos Capito did not deliver anything like he was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But also, Zach Brown's not running the team anymore, is it? It's Andreas Seidel, who has done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
A genuinely fantastic job. Like, I can't lay this at the hands of Zach, aside from the fact that he's made the right hiring decisions. I do wonder, though, if breaking up the team of Sainz and Norris may adversely affect this, because, a lot of... If you see the interviews with people in the team or the drivers themselves, a lot of them have said it's that bromance that has fueled this resurgence, because you had 2 drivers that, even when the cameras are off, genuinely like each other and were both very, very committed to making it work. Norris because he's been groomed as the McLaren man for the next 10 years, and Sainz because he was pulled from F1 oblivion by them and really wanted to prove that he has what it takes, and he did, and now he's going to Ferrari. So you had 2 sort of hungry and motivated drivers who were not fighting each other and tripping over each other, and who were both desperately excited to make things work. That's a sort of lightning in the bottle combination that I don't think Daniel and Lando are going to be, but you may disagree with me on that.
I think Daniel might be on the surface. I think the same thing will apply. I think underneath there is going to be more tactical Alonsoing from Daniel's side, because he's wily and he's been through the ring of being shit shafted for Red Bull when they favoured Verstappen, and then he's had to deal. I get the impression that Ocon is slimy as a teammate. I don't know why. I just decided he is, and so
I
think
can't trust the French.
Not unless
That's
they're
what it
cooking.
is.
Moving. Yeah, it's just.
Sorry to cut you off there, but
How the hell did we
what the
manage
fuck
that?
is going on? That I'm on pole by 0.4 of a second at Monaco.
Well
Where the
done.
fucking hell did that come from?
I'm
Every
all right.
year where I'm not paying attention, it happens. When I'm trying really hard. Oh,
I won't be able to sustain this over like 3 laps, but hopefully, if I can jump the other Mercedes, I can be like some kind of bulldozer that will keep them all behind, and we'll kind of fuck up a 1-2 for Christmas.
but to go back to what you were saying. Oh shit! It's raining, and I've taken downforce off my car. Fuck.
It said it wasn't going to rain.
It has lies.
Oh no!
I'm in real trouble now.
It wasn't raining the first time I looked, and then obviously we restarted. Fuck!
Oh well, get ready for some entertainment, everybody. Shall we shut up and do the first lap, and then we'll get back to the news?
It might be best. Oh, it's telling me that I will definitely need some pit stoppage. So, right. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. I
Shit,
was.
what's the clutch button? X.
Where's
X is
brake?
the clutch button.
Where's brake?
I haven't played this in a while. Span all my power away.
It's all right. I've done what I needed to do. I'm now gonna basically be the fattest Renault ever, and then just don't bin it.
I am crapping my pants.
You're
This is
looking
horrible.
beautifully Larry, mate. The way you're spinning that out, but you're faster than me
the car-
already.
The car has no grip at all.
This is like when they went to Turkey and there was they couldn't get round like corners.
Actually, do you know what it reminds me of? Do you remember last year's Christmas special where we did the unlikely World Motorsport Championships?
Oh,
and we
yeah.
drove endurance cars in a snowstorm.
Yes, that was glorious.
It reminds me of that.
The two Hasses have collided at the hairpin. How the fuck did they manage to do that?
Well, I guess Codemasters have really put some effort into realism this year.
Where's the flames?
Right, are we feeling brave enough? Dare we talk again?
Possibly.
I mean, let's be honest, there is going to be a massive accident, so if we just assume that we're both going to DNF, then we won't get too upset when it inevitably happens.
That is true.
Because I don't think I can concentrate like this for more than like 3 laps. And I'm going to lose the lead in the pit stops anyway, because I'm so much slower, I think, than everybody else. If you weren't holding them up, I'd be in a world of pain right now.
I'm going at the fastest that I can, I think, though. That's the thing. Oh, nearly in the wall. I'm all right. I just think that Daniel is wilier and will bring in potentially some mind games that might unstable that McLaren camp slightly. Not tons, and it will still be amicable. But I don't think... Or anything that Carlos and Lando were doing together is kind of covered up by that bromance, if that makes sense. So it doesn't really affect it, if that makes... I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah. That's
you are making sense. I think you're right. I mean, the other thing for me is that we know that Daniel wants a championship. He's hungry, and he went to Renault with the hope of them having a McLaren season,
Yeah.
which obviously they didn't.
Better than I thought they would do, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, what, 3 podiums this year?
I thought it was 2.
Or was it 4? No, it was 3, wasn't it? Because the first one he forgot to do a shoey, and I think there's been 2 since then.
Oh, okay.
I think. Oh, no.
It was
the one I'm
Ocon
thinking
was the other
third
one.
was Ocon, yeah. But still, as a team, 3 podiums. I don't think anyone would have predicted that.
No, I certainly
Based on
didn't.
how that car looked in, pre-season testing or anywhere else for that matter.
Yeah.
Oh God. Why is this car so terrifying?
I clipped my rear wheel in Raskas, so that's why I've dropped back quite a bit, because I was like, no, don't go to Yera, is it?
Right, back into the news bag. While we still got some brain power left. So, we'll move sideways from, even though we've taken a detour through McLaren as we so often do. We'll move from Red Bull to AlphaTauri. We've already touched on it a little bit. Yuki Tsunoda has been announced as the partner for Pierre Gasly,
Yes.
meaning Daniel Kvyat has been yet again given his P45 and he's back with his friends down the Russian job centre. Now, I've already said I feel that's quite an unjust firing, because I think Gasly and Kvyat have worked really, really well together, and that team has been working superbly this year.
Agree.
Really superbly.
Agree. And there's a change of language in there as well. I know I've said it before, but someone referred to it as it's not the junior team, it's the sister team. And I was like, yes, they're building that around Gasly because they can see that he has team leader mentality in there, and that actually that can. Why have a junior and senior? You just market the different brands slightly separately, if that makes.
And you have the 4 best cars you can build collectively.
Yeah.
And I suppose it allows them to continue to set up that Red Bull in a very Max specific way. But yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us are expecting Tsunoda to set the world alight next year.
I think there'll be flashes of brilliance in a flash of crashes. He is good. He is quick. I think he needed a second season of F2 personally.
Yes.
But yeah, it's an interesting one because I feel like that is. I hadn't thought too much about the fact that he's there to get the Honda IP until you said it, and that now makes absolute perfect sense.
Yeah, it was between him and Sato, I think, because they were both in the young driver test, right?
Yes, and Marino Sato is not as good as Tsunoda. Absolutely not. I would have rather of them taken Nobuharu Matsushita if they was going to opt for anyone else apart from Tsunoda. But Tsunoda
I
is
didn't
the
think
best.
Matsushita was so bad, but
No, he's good.
he's kind of dropped off the radar a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's because he was with a team that isn't a front runner at MP, so they're normally back of the grid lots. But the fact that both Matsushita and Felipe Drogovic were up there challenging, and I think they both won races this year in an MP Motorsports team that have never won before. They not even had podiums, I think, until this year. I think that says a lot about how both of those drivers actually are, and so it's kind of flown under the radar, I think, for Matsushita.
Yeah, probably true. It's just a shame that, again, we don't have more teams. Because, again, something else I was thinking about, we need 2 extra teams.
Absolutely.
I think an extra 4 seats and get rid of Latifi. And for next year, Mazepan, who we'll get into in a bit, very naughty boy. Hashtag bring back Marcus Ericsson, obviously. But if you think about, Hulkenberg,
Yep.
who may never be a championship contender, but he's certainly a safe pair of hands to develop a young team. You think Kevin Magnussen, who I think is a great driver. He's just been stuck with a shit pile of a car. I mean, let's not forget how good he was at McLaren.
Yep.
And then since then, he's only ever had truly terrible cars.
Yeah, the Renault was
but he
gross.
still had some standout drives.
Yep.
So I think his career could have been a very different story if he'd just been afforded a bit more opportunity.
Although I am pleased that he's gone to IMSA for what looks like a front-running winning car, so hopefully he'll be able to have a decent career over there.
Yeah. I obviously we wish him all the best. We are fans of K-Mags.
Suck my balls. Yeah.
that for me is probably one of the highlights of the last decade. That and do you remember? I can't remember what year it was. Kimi Räikkönen deliberately trying not to get a podium so he didn't have to go to an FIA awards ceremony.
Oh yeah.
Which, you know, for any other driver would probably be a sackable offence. You know.
Love it.
Oh, this car handles like a bag of dicks. But yeah, I don't think Snowden's going to set the world alight. I think it'll probably be a 1 year flash in the pan kind of thing. And then, who's in the Red Bull program now? Who's left amongst the fields of dead?
Jehan Daruvala, the Indian.
Any good?
Tsunoda's better.
Maybe Tsunoda will. Maybe Tsunoda will stick around.
But Daruvala can't manage tyres. That's why I think he'll be fucked for F1. Because there's some stuff. I think there's like a F2 like. You know, the F1 put out the like team radio montage best ofs. There's like a montage of whoever is the race engineer for Daruvala is. I swear they're into like BDSM sadomasochism because Jehan goes on the radio and he's like, the tyres are terrible, and then the engineer literally just goes back, fucking drive faster then, and then he's all like, ah! And it's like, it sounds like he's crying on the radio by the end of it. And then there's one where he's like, I can't get past this guy, and the new engineer just basically goes, don't be a twat, do it, and he's like, ah! They just torture the poor guy. And I was like, whoever's the engineer here is like, if it turns out to be like Matashits Jr., I would not be surprised. Or Helmut Matashits. There we go.
If our new Imperial overlords at EA are listening, maybe replace Jeff in forthcoming versions of the game with this engineer.
Yes. You can have like sadistic mode.
Yeah, one that just says, don't be a twat. That's good advice in any position, any point in the race. You know, or like, you know, a proper Scottish engineer, like from the Scottish Banter Facebook group, you know. Just occasionally pops on the radio and goes, don't make a cunt of it.
Oh shit, safety car.
Oh, do not fucking eliminate my lead. Oh, I'm going to get a penalty because of the delta. Box this lap. Might as well, right?
Yeah.
How many laps are we in? Was this lap 9? And how many laps is in the race?
39?
39?
Yeah.
Oh shit, maybe I shouldn't box then.
It's telling me to pit. What percentage is your tyres? If you can see it. I know
21.
You run it. Oh, see, I'm on 30s, so I'm coming in.
So I've got a drive-through penalty as well.
Ah, dude. But you were like winning and everything.
Yeah, I was actually doing a win.
It can happen.
I was trying to read my layout. My readout, and forgot it was a virtual safety car, and I went a bit too fast.
Are you this lapping?
Yeah,
because I am trying to. I'm trying to back them up like Carlos Sainz style without actually causing a problem.
I think we can probably double stack, to be honest.
Yeah, they're not coming in. Well, a couple of them are. Perez is.
Some will come in the next lap, I think.
Yeah, come on, do the animation. Well done. Do not fuck with me. Do not fuck with me.
Alright, where have I come out now?
I am 16.
P10. But I have a drive-through penalty that's going to really fucking ruin my race. So that safety car has literally robbed me of a win at Monaco.
Dang it. Now, the only good thing was that just before that, Hamilton smashed into the back of me at Rascasse, so hopefully he's got like wing damage and will hold people up a bit.
There's a Red Bull that's ghosted and crashed at the hairpin.
Oh yeah, it's Verstappen. Oh, there's all kinds of problems.
Which means I've inherited P9 by doing nothing, so we're already making progress.
Oh, I could only just get round that hairpin without going into the wall.
See, now I'm getting in trouble for falling too far back, but there was a Red Bull in my way. What does it want me to do?
This game.
In the words of Gunther Steiner, am I supposed to fuck smash it?
Fuck smash the door. Love a good fuck smash. Right. Ah, oh, poor Gunther.
And now my tyres are getting cold. And I'm in the spray, which is like brown trousers time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right, all you bastards, go in the pits. Oh, of course you don't. Arseholes.
I think they're trying to one-stop it, whereas myself, Perez, Verstappen's rejoined back in 17th, and then there's a Williams and a Haas behind. We've all pitted. Oh, Verstappen hasn't, but yeah, anyway. Ugh.
Oh, it's really hard to concentrate. And my front tyres are cold.
Baby,
and I don't know what to do about it. Okay, let's talk Mazepan, shall we?
Perez? 5 seconds.
What's he done to you?
He smashed into the back of me and I get a 5-second penalty because everyone's stuck at the hairpin. Well, not even at the hairpin. We're now stuck at the hairpin again. Because Bottas is
I've
stuck.
just overtaken someone again.
Yeah, Bottas
this game is amazing. This game is amazing. Let's not pretend otherwise.
No.
I'm now about to get a penalty for falling too far behind Sebastian Vettel.
This game, though. Magnussen's got a penalty now as well for overtaking Russell because of how we couldn't get round for stuff. Oh my god. This game.
And now my front tyres are so cold that I can't steer and I keep falling too far behind. Can this safety car please come in?
I reckon it, because each time it goes round, it's thinking that there's someone stuck. So I reckon it's like go round again. Oh, I can see someone's just popped a message in. Tier 4, sigh. Hey, Sloughy. I'll be just crying tears at the minute if this race keeps going. Although, if enough AI keep smashing into the wall down at the hairpin, we might end up cycling back into 1 and 2 by the end of it all.
This by rights should be a Renault 1-2.
Now we know how Georgie Porgy Russell feels, being robbed twice of a win. What a drive! What a fucking drive, eh?
Yeah, phenomenal. Actually, let's talk about him, then we'll talk about Mazepan. Let's do the happy news first.
Okay.
Because obviously, as everyone will remember, Lewis got the coof. I kind of wish he hadn't have come back. You know, obviously I don't want him to be ill, but I wanted George to have another shot in that car. Not least because of how obviously uncomfortable it made Bottas. Because he made him look a right dick.
Yeah. I've just had got another penalty for hitting Perez, but Perez hit Gasly because he was ghosted in the middle of the track. What is going on with this game? Oh, safety car in his lap. Thank fuck for that. Yeah, Bottas, such a little bitch. I don't mean to be so harsh, but it was just woeful that he's been in that car for however long.
It's his 4th season, isn't it?
Yeah. And yet he's not been able to do out to keep behind it. Perez, stop it. He's not been able to do anything to keep that guy from basically showing why Russell should be in that car. And I was so thinking that he might be in that car for 2021, but it's not going to happen. But 2022, Russell will be in that seat if there is any justice in this world.
Oh, my front tyres are so cold, I cannot steer.
So... Oh, Sergio's just pitched me into the wall.
Come on, car, you can get round the corner. I believe in you.
Who is that?
That's me bundling everyone up because I need to get some heat into these fucking tyres.
Okay. It's only a yellow front wing. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. Mummy!
Yeah, and it's strange, isn't it, that Lewis isn't there, and that's when the team make their biggest mistakes.
Yeah.
Because, from the first one as well, George recovered remarkably well.
Yeah, didn't lose his head, kept going, got it back in, was busy closing down Sergio for the win. Looking juicy, would have been all him, or all his rather, and yet it all kind of unbuckled because of that tyre issue. And I was so worried that they was going to be disqualified for it, but Russell at least got to keep some points.
Yeah, which he thoroughly earned.
Yeah.
So, as is customary on this show, I am now dead last, thanks to a drive-through penalty I didn't deserve for an accident that wasn't my fault. So, normal service has resumed.
Oh, that was my fault. Perez. God, if anyone else was... I wasn't already a raving homo, that would have ruined my anal virginity. Right.
Oh, now I have to pit again. Now I've lost my front wing. Confirm change.
Oh, okay. I'll come in next lap.
No, you're coming now. I'm so far behind you now, mate. It's not even funny. You can double stop. It's fine.
I wonder if I can cause
I
a safety
can't
car.
even see. I can't even see the next person in last. My brakes don't work. Everything's wrong and broken. I've got no front wing, so I can't steer properly.
Okay. Well, it's usual shenanigans. And then I've got a 10-second stop-go penalty because Perez just rammed me under the safety car many times. Merry Christmas to you, Sluffy, by the way. I'm planning a Carnage stream tomorrow if you're interested.
Oh, I'm glad you told me about that 10-second penalty because that meant we couldn't double stack. So I've gone round again.
Okay. Oh, Bottas got disqualified. Life imitating art.
I'm wondering if it might not be time for slicks soon.
Well, Jeff's just kind of said we're on the right tyres for now, as if implying that there is a change. Oh, we only done one 5-second penalty. I've got to come and do another 5. Really?
This game. This game, though. How have we stuck doing this for as long as we have? Without going completely fucking mental.
We are gluttons for punishment. Sadomasochists.
See, I have to come in now because my car's such a wreck. And now I've got a 3-second penalty because I can't brake.
Oh dear. Never mind.
I knew it was too good to be true that we were running 1 and 2 on merit at Monaco. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to get lapped. I'm going to come out amongst traffic, the worst place to be, and a lap down.
The tyre situation is an interesting one, but I think the right call is to stick with what we've got right now.
Oh, bloody hell.
It wouldn't be Failcast without it.
No.
This is the Christmas
Alright.
joy that keeps giving.
Alright, I'm annoyed now. Let's talk Nikita Mazepan. Someone else annoying.
What a cunt.
So, Simon, imagine, if you will, let's play a mind game. So imagine, if you will, that you're a young thrusting buck, as you still are. Let's be fair.
Young and thrusting.
Yeah, and you know, you've been given you've won the genetic lottery, and it just so happens that you are the son of Russia's foremost fossil fuel oligarch.
Ooh,
so you're not
sexy.
short of a few quid. And finally, an opportunity in Formula One comes knocking. How would you celebrate? Because speaking just for myself, I know that I would definitely sexually assault a friend on camera and then put it on the internet. What about you?
I mean, it's up there with possibly angrily tweeting at a fellow racing driver who's ascended to Formula One about their sexual orientation. That would be the other one that I'd go for out of my top 10 ways to kamikaze my career.
Those are the two sort of classic ways to celebrate, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Use the internet to dish out some homophobic slurs or sexually assault a friend.
Or you could sexually assault a homo and try and do both at the same time. Christ.
Yeah,
it's like a buy one, get one free.
Even he was not that visionary, sadly. Now, Haas have come out and said, well, we obviously condemn this, blah, 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 blah. We will deal with it internally and we'll make no more comment. That to me seems a bit of a cop-out. And I'm not usually one for like social justice hounding people out of their jobs.
No.
But usually that's because social justice hounding people out of their jobs is like getting people fired for saying that women are women or something like that, you know. Like women aren't born with penises. Which, you know, it's true, they're not. And it doesn't matter how much we might wish the opposite was true, it's not. It doesn't mean we can't all be nice to each other. So, in this case, I am actually totally in favour of Haas distancing themselves from him, but something tells me that using the mystical and magical alchemy of lots of money, this problem might just go away.
I think it will be will fall on deaf ears type thing. Interestingly, so I know Mazepin has now had to delete all of his social media, basically because it's probably
just
all
in case
incriminating.
he sexually assaults someone else on camera.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because there was one... he replied to someone randomly, basically where they was like condemning him and stuff. And then he basically replied back to them going, but this is how the real world works. And I'm like, I don't think so, but okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I mean, maybe that's how you think it works when you're born into obscene wealth and power in a corrupt oligarchy.
Yeah.
But, you know, in the rest of the world, or, well, most of the rest of the world, you don't go around groping women. That's just... I would say it's considered, at best, discourteous. Like, you wouldn't be invited back to a dinner party.
No.
You know... You might find, come the summer, that the invites to friends' barbecues might dry up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to need dry tyres, aren't we?
It's turning, isn't it? That's probably why no one wanted to pit. Bugger.
Because the AI know this stuff.
Whereas we don't.
Clearly not.
Yeah, so I'm with you. And shout out to Matty What the F1, who is being quite vocal on this.
Normally I'm not a big fan of his, to be honest.
No.
But on this, we are as one.
We are. And we all say no to Mazepan. And it's interesting to
for
hear...
so many reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
but
go on.
It's interesting to see, Ted called him a lout, which I thought was funny. Crofty was condemning it. Everyone's kind of speaking out. And there'll be something, I think, from the actual internal stuff around the F1 drivers, basically trying to kind of kick him into touch, because you can't have that going on one side whilst they're championing equality and having Formula E onto their calendar now and all of that kind of stuff, all kind of diving on real issues with that. I would like to see his drive revoked, him still kind of stay in the team, but for them to publicly basically make him go through some kind of rehabilitation program, so that he because I'm not like, if you make a twattish decision, I'm not against someone showing that they've learned their lessons and moved on and then can come back and earn the respect again.
But it has to be genuine, and I don't think
Yes.
it ever can be genuine when what's at stake is a drive in Formula One. Like,
No,
he would say anything, anything at all.
agree. Which is why there needs to be some kind of time-bound thing for it. And I guess the other kind of the awkward thing with this is, I think, and I get the impression that Haas will fold if Mazepin's money is not there to prop it up. And so
Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Confirmed.
No,
mean,
I completely agree. I think it's Mazepin's money that's kept them on the grid.
yeah. And the issue that this is now is, and I have no answer for this whatsoever because it's an impossible decision. If you took Mazepin out of the team and then that team folds and 300-400 people lose all of their jobs as a result,
Complete. Go now.
what then end justifies the means for that? And I'm not saying that what he does is right, or I'm not saying what he's done is right and justifies him being able to then walk around because he's got money, but it's the gravitas of what that decision has, which is why I think they're trying to say, oh, we'll deal with it internally, blah 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 blah. But if it's all behind closed doors and no one sees any kind of actual output from it, then it's all hollow. And then that calls, I think, into question how FIA in Formula One then deal with the Formula E issue. And then, if you don't all race as one, then your race issue's bollocks as well. So is your green stuff by 2030. And it has so many knock-on effects for not revoking him to some degree. It's a mess. And there's no right answer.
Can you also imagine next year those like black and white race opening things where all the drivers talk about how committed they are to equality and everything, and then it ends with him doing the fucking boob honking gesture?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much what's going to happen.
Those videos look awkward as it is, and I know they're going to drop some of that stuff next year. They've said it, I think, that they're going to kind of let people kind of do their own thing, which probably means that it won't be televised as part of like the opening stuff. It's going to be so awkward. And no one will take anything that he's involved with seriously ever again. And it's the same with Kyle, not Bush, but Kyle Larson, was it, that was racist on a stream? He was idiotic, but he's been relatively humble in the way how he's tried to then go around sorting it out. I don't trust a fucking word that he says, but at least he's kind of shut up, kept his head down, said his sorries, and kind of started to work on being less of an ignorant twat. But yeah, super messy for all involved, and I don't think there is a black and white answer. There is only shades of grey, and you'll never be able to find the right balance that will appease enough people. and I just wished he
No.
wasn't in the sport. And the other thing as well, just to get whilst I'm on the soapbox, fuck it, let's get the whole shebang. By extension, Williams keeping Dan Ticktum on their books. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He is a moose and a hoose, but he's even Alex Jakes, who does the commentary in Formula 2, is just like, shut up to him when he's like bitching over the radio and how everything is everyone else's fault. He just does himself no favours whatsoever. You've then got the one that went over and advertised Trump, wanted to advertise Trump on his F2 car, and then went over Ferrucci.
Ferrucci
Was racist elsewhere, and then basically gets his break. And they're all trying to make IndyCar, trying to make it like a redemption arc for him, but he's done nothing to deserve it, because all he's done is drive well. That doesn't actually mean that he's had a redemption arc. It just means he's driven well. So how you kind of play that out in a public arena, very, very difficult. But I've never seen anyone get it right, if you could ever get it right, and I'm not sure you could.
No, I mean, you are right in the sense that Mazepin being a dick could potentially put hundreds of people out of a job. And then, when you weigh it up, is that well, at least I'm going to not get a point for fastest lap. Now the car feels great, and now I can be fast again. But I just had to go through all that fucking garbage. I really could have won this race.
I know.
Never mind, that gives Lewis another 25 points on both of us, because you and I are second and third in the championship, although that may come to an end now since we're both not scoring.
That's true, but this is the last one of the kind of hell races for a while, and then I think we're on a good run after this, aren't we?
Until Singapore. A track that actually I love and I want to be good at, but it just never goes my way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think between now and Singapore, it's pretty much golden. Because even France, which I hate as a track, I'm actually quite fast at.
I've started to get into the hang of it.
Year.
Yeah, I think you did actually, yeah. I've started to get the hang of it now that I kind of understand where the apexes are, which took a while.
But it's very rare you come up to a corner where like everything's apex.
No, that's true.
It all looks like an apex.
That's a new fastest lap of the race.
Trading them fastest laps, bro.
Yeah, for reals. Do you even lap, bro?
I will get lapped, bro. Oh, Hamilton.
Oh, now Lewis has shit on both of us.
Wanker. With his COVID and still winning and everything.
Yeah. He even managed to come out the winner of having COVID. But actually, can we talk about him for a minute? Because I do have to congratulate him on 7 World Championship.
Absolutely.
That is monumental. And he's actually been unusually humble and not too much of a prick about it. I actually thought, like, the day he won it, his reaction was...
He seemed quite overcome, I thought. And quite emotional and kind of... It was interesting that... although I kind of go, oh no, not the eye roll positivity, but the first thing that he was saying was like, for all the kids out there, blah 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 blah. So I can understand why people are Team LH if you buy, if that's your jam. It was a really good way to do it.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, like, as I've always said, just because I don't often. He can be a massive cock, basically, is what I'm trying to say. He can be a massive cock, but I think overall he's been a net positive for the sport.
Yep.
I think he is a great role model for kids. I hate the way he's trying to make it a race thing, because isn't the whole point of the 20th century and Martin Luther King that he can be a role model for any kids, not just black kids? But whichever way you cut it, he is a fantastic role model to have. If he just turns the dickishness down and starts dressing like a normal human being and not some kind of sexually confused alien.
Is that what the dreads are? Merry Christmas, Rhino, by the way, in the chat.
He's yeah, and this talk of him getting a knighthood, I think it's hard to make a case that he shouldn't. I still do
Agreed.
think there's definitely an argument, well, more than an argument to be made, that a lot of it is down to the car, and I hate the way Toto Wolff pretends that it's not. Because it just is. Like, the driver is important, but the car is by far the most important element.
Yes.
Because all these drivers are the best drivers in the world, and Bottas would have won the world championship if it hadn't been for Lewis. And Bottas is nowhere near Lewis, and he was nowhere near George Russell. So, to say, oh, the car has very little to do with it is bollocks. But that said, it's still, that's part of the game and always has been. You have to manoeuvre yourself into the right position.
Yeah.
What I found very interesting was after George Russell's race, the question was put to Max Verstappen, because obviously Lewis still doesn't have a contract next year. Do teams need big money drivers like Lewis when the car's so good? And of course, Verstappen was like, yes, of course they do. Of course they do. He's a 7-time world champion. That quality speaks for itself. But I know what he was really saying was, yes, they do. Please don't ruin this for me. Please keep continuing to pay me huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
I think the day that F1 realises that actually if they put more money into the car and less into driver pay, and the car is good enough, they can pay someone half as much to still win, will be a big day.
Yes.
It's not happened yet in football, but I honestly did think at some point there'd come a point in time where football teams or race teams would look at an athlete and go, yeah, he probably is the best, but is he, twice the salary of the nearest driver good? Probably not. But they still seem not to be doing it. But I am surprised that there's no deal with Hamilton in place yet.
I think it was waiting for this merger because I was watching a piece with F1 Elvis, Mark Priestley, and he raised a really interesting point, which I didn't kind of click, because I didn't know what Ineos is as a sponsor, and it's a giant oil or fossil fuel guzzling company, which is...
They're Scottish, aren't they?
I don't know. I can't do it. Ineos. I can't do it. Maybe. It sounds like a made-up word. Gaelic. But everything that they do is everything that Lewis Hamilton does not stand for. And so if they're coming in and they were going to take over like a big chunky stake of the company, and Lewis is on a let's save the planet, green emissions kind of trajectory, why are you then driving for a team that would potentially have like a massive stake in the company that stands and deals with everything that you stand against publicly? And how awkward is that? So I think maybe what Lewis was waiting for is to see exactly what stake that company is coming in for, making sure that Toto has an equal third say and that he can rally Mercedes in to basically stop and keep kind of that culture and what he wants to have that team do still stay intact, because otherwise it will be, we're off to Indy, we're going to abandon Formula E, which lots of teams seem to be doing at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why. It seems to me that the rules aren't evolving quick enough. I think they're feeling hamstrung by the standardisation of the formula. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're not able to develop new tech, which was the whole point.
Yeah, because as soon as they stop showing that they're at the forefront of electric production and look at what we can bring to your road cars, then what becomes the point of Formula E, I guess. But then you've seen like Honda pulling out of F1, but they're still doubling down on Indy, which is gas-guzzling fossil fuels. So there's a bit of a kind of weird clinging on to old ways of thinking, and this Ineos kind of buy-in is a really interesting one for me, because that's a team now split 3 ways with 3 very different ways of thinking. And I think Hamilton might have kind of been like, well, what the hell's going on with this? I can't be seen publicly to be associated with all of these different things that are going on when I'm on a crusade to say X, Y, and Z. And now that Toto has signed on for 3 years, I think we'll see a 3-year deal for Hamilton. And then
that
they'll
seems a
both
little
leave.
long to me. And I you could totally be right, but I think in my gut, I think you're giving him far too much credit. I think this is purely about money, because the thing is, like, he's a great driver and a great role model for kids in many aspects, but he is a hypocrite and always has been. The only issues he genuinely seems to care about and is prepared to disrupt over is Black Lives Matter. Everything else is flexible. You know, he can talk about human rights and human dignity and everything, but he'll still defend racing in Saudi Arabia. He'll lecture people on Instagram about reducing their carbon footprint, and then the next day post a picture on a private jet and not see any jarring change in message that puts out. I think this is about Ineos coming in and footing his salary, because this is his last negotiation before the salary cap comes in.
Oh, that's a good shout. Yeah.
And I think he was waiting to see what sort of money would be in place, and I think he will... I don't think he'll do more than another year, to be honest, because I think he sees the writing on the wall if he's as smart and shrewd as he seems to be. Because there's no way Mercedes is going to be a force at this level come 2022, I don't think. Too much is changing, it's getting too disruptive. I think poor old George Russell might find himself coming into a team on the decline, actually. Because the more Mercedes pulls out and the less interested they are, Ineos and Toto Wolff, I mean, Ineos have the money, but they don't have the reason to invest it in the team. Toto Wolff doesn't have the money that Ineos and Mercedes-Benz have. I think it's a team that's not going to fall to the back of the grid, but I don't think it's going to be a championship-winning outfit in 2-3 seasons. I think the competition is just a bit too hot, and they're making too much progress year on year.
Ooh. And also, I guess, you've got a couple of... you've also got the way how the rules are starting to try and penalise front runners, to try and get everything to kind of... Oh, that was weird. Hamilton was inside me there. Not in a good way.
Ooh, misses.
Not that I want that either, to be fair.
You wouldn't feel #blessed.
That's not the holy water
sorry,
I want
that's
splashed
awful.
on my face.
Splash down. Oh god, that's a grim image. Right. See, the thing for me is as well, I do wonder if he's not thinking about a one-year victory tour with Ferrari.
Ooh,
Get rid of Sainz.
before he's even arrived. Poor thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could. Let's be honest, he could. If he wanted that drive and asked for it, he'd get it.
Maybe. I don't see him wanting to go to Ferrari and have to rebuild another team again at such a late point in his career, when maybe there's a music career on there, which is why I was like, maybe he'll take the deal, leave with Toto in 3 years' time, having achieved the 10. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll stick around for at least one more year, because I think he wants to genuinely best Schumacher.
Yes.
Not equal him, but better him. And while the car is still capable next year of an eighth title, he'll
Easy
still
win.
go and he'll get it.
Yeah, especially with that layabout Bottas stuck around.
Yeah.
Laptop.
But I don't think he'll be in the same team as Russell.
No, not after that performance.
No. So, you know, I could see him signing on for one more year and at a ridiculous salary.
And I guess
Speaking
as well,
of-
you would also put it in a year when everyone is furloughed, losing money, losing jobs. You can't go around and command ridiculous salaries like you could anymore, because if that then means that puts a company to the brink, he is single-handedly responsibly then potentially risking the lives of thousands of people by asking for stupid salaries. So you've got to be really mindful of
You're
it.
right.
Because initially I thought the reason why he was doing it was that he was like, 6 months and coronavirus might be over, then everyone's life will be back to normal. Then it doesn't matter if you come out with a new like £30 million a year contract, because everyone's lives are getting back on track. But now that they're not, and this is going to be like years of shit, then...
Oh, shit.
Oh, you're right.
No.
No!
It's alright.
I thought we was going to have a last little minute ding-dong then.
Yeah, that's what I was aiming for.
Love a ding-dong.
Oh, well, never mind. No, I mean, I think honestly he's in it for himself. And the politics and the social messaging, that's just all window dressing. Speaking of ridiculous things, though, everyone's favourite young driver, Fernando Alonso, people have suddenly remembered how good V10s were, and now the press is full of articles saying F1 should bring back V10s. And the most famous video used to justify this is actually everyone's favourite eco-warrior Lewis Hamilton absolutely loving the sound of the V10 as it goes around the track. I mean, obviously I don't think F1 are going to do it, but there is a seemingly large lake of pressure building now for them to at least release a statement about it, because all the F1 journalists, all the fan sites, I've seen comments on blogs, I've seen comments in chat rooms and so on, everyone's saying, well, yeah, why not, since Formula E's got the sustainability thing covered and hybrids are already on the way out, F1's got nowhere to go, why not make it a pure racing formula again? And Ross Brawn actually did say they found a way to power F1 using entirely with biofuels.
Oh, okay.
And I was thinking, hold on, why have you been researching that?
Yeah, because they're doing their kind of, we need to be carbon neutral by 2030. If you're literally going to power a Ferrari with shit, then maybe that's a good way to... V10 shit. Oh my god, imagine if there's like an engine blowout and it's just like a cow turd just pops out the back.
Well, see, like that I would definitely watch.
Just shit on fire.
I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Those cars were definitely more exciting to watch.
Yes.
The spectacle of F1 was better. I don't think you can really deny that reality. But who in their right mind, even if it's powered by like bits of beard trimming and hippies' dreams, is going to go back to building V10 engines and paying to develop them in a hyper competitive way?
Yeah.
No one is that mental.
No, it is silly.
And I really wish like the F1 fan circle and even the journalists are guilty of this. I wish they'd stop this impulsive impatience and just hopping on every conceivable bandwagon. Like, let's do reverse grids. Oh, let's have 3-car teams.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's standardise everything. And it's like, in your quest for like every race being a classic, you're going to completely ruin the sport.
Yeah. And it'd be so knee-jerky that as soon as there is one bad race, then you write off everything ever about that specific thing, which I always find very frustrating and annoying. And forgetting that, like, classic races do not need to be jam-packed full of overtakes. It can be like the beauty of a tactical battle is just as fun sometimes, and seeing like two guys blocking and defending beautifully and not necessarily having overtake after overtake all the time. And Crofty's
or a surprise winner.
yeah, and Crofty doesn't help it either, because he sounds permanently bored, and like he just throws things out there to just stir up the pot. And he drives me up the wall with like, basically, what am I going to say is shit about Formula One this FP1 session, so that we can spend an hour and a half talking about how our sport is lacking. And like, there's no, it's never done in a positive light, unless something is crazy weird and then there's a good news story. That's not how it works. And no wonder everyone's constantly then on a downer at it, when that's the kind of journalism that you get. If you don't like it, just go.
That is also an excellent segue into our final bit of news, which is obviously Romain Grosjean.
Yes.
Because the coverage, and Daniel Ricciardo was the only one to call him out on it, but the coverage of that incident was, I think, gratuitous is the only word you could really apply.
Nearly like pornographic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, not like, in the 90s, like when Senna died or whatever, they just didn't talk about it. They just, had the cars going round, safety car, until it was red flagged, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And, apart from occasionally saying, obviously, we hope Ayrton's okay, they basically talked about the race and the restart. They didn't endlessly replay his crash. And, they managed to do a bit better with Jules Bianchi, although they did constantly replay the impact, which was, at the time, I believe we both commented upon the inappropriateness of that. But yeah, Romain Grosjean, having spent the last 4 years building up to, let's call it his pièce de résistance, having a series of smaller and slight vaguely embarrassing crashes, decides to go out on a high with the most spectacular crash, I would say, for probably about 30 years.
Yeah.
Maybe even more. First of all, obviously, I'm sure we're both very thankful that he's alive and well, and remarkably pretty uninjured. Because that was honestly scarier than some accidents that have killed people.
Yeah. And it's not just the flames, it was the fact that the car is sheared in half, is stuck in the barrier. Mind-boggling.
Yeah, and yet again, proof where it needed. And I mean, like, it's a fair question, right? That I have been asked. It's like, how did we have no real deaths or serious injuries? Well, until Bianchi, basically, without the halo. Because how many lives has the halo saved in the short amount of time it's been there? It saved Fernando Alonso. It saved Charles Leclerc twice. It saved Carlos Sainz's life. It saved Lance Stroll's life. It's also now saved Romain Grosjean's life. Like, how unbelievably lucky were we?
Yeah.
In those years to have not had an accident that could have killed someone.
Yeah.
Until Bianchi. And again, the halo probably would have saved him. That's why it was invented, right? It looked at his accident and the one that Felipe Massa had and said, okay, what can we do to protect the head?
Yeah, and Justin Wilson, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Bizarre. But I guess it's because these cars are so big, so chunky, they've got so much more weight behind them. And it's a snap and go. And I think because of the speeds, the grip, the snap and go effect, accidents are happening in places that you don't normally see accidents happening previously. Like, I've never seen a car off there. And then, funny enough, on Bahrain 2, you saw Kimi spinning off on there afterwards as well. And it's because they're taking that exit of that corner so much more quicker now. And there's also, I think, more of, as safety becomes not less of an issue, but it's put to the back of the mind because people drive like a computer game almost with that mentality. I think there's not a lack of respect maybe, but there's you see that kind of like in the driving, that people are like pushing each other off to the sides of the roads and all of that kind of stuff. And you'd only get 1 or 2 drivers that do that, and now all 20 of them are doing it. And like that Grosjean sweep across was so dramatic and huge. I don't think you would get that maybe in the mid 2000s, when those cars were such a finely tuned pirouetting pinwheel. Maybe, I don't know.
No, I actually completely agree. I mean, and the thing is, I think it stands further as testament to how well made these cars are, that it can have an accident that's so unbelievably unlikely, and for him to literally spear through the barrier and come out the other side in a fireball and still be able to extricate himself and get out with just, you know, a burnt hand and a burnt lower leg. I mean, that's a fucking miracle. And I think we often take for granted that the F1 teams don't have to go as above and beyond as they do. I mean, they have to meet the FAA's requirements, but often teams actually they're still always trying to perfect this technology. They are trying to continually improve safety, and I think that has to be commended. I mean, the engineering on display is just phenomenal. What I'd be interested to see now is, obviously they're going to investigate this crash. They don't want to see a fireball again. I wonder if they're going to reconsider having so much fuel on board the cars.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. What, and bring back refueling as a way of...
Well, I mean, I don't know if they will. I just wonder if they'll look at how refueling technology might have come along in the years since we stopped, and they'll do a risk assessment. I think they'll probably actually still keep the refueling ban because, you know, the chances of a crash like that are so slim compared to 20 cars refueling twice a race, right?
Yeah.
But you never do know, right? It's just, as they said, like, that fireball, they believe, was only a fraction of the fuel on board that was in the fuel collector. So that's basically a piece where fuel is siphoned from the tank and ready to be pushed into the injectors. So it's actually quite a small amount of fuel compared to everything that was on board. And yet the fireball was fucking huge. I think it would be legitimate at this point to at least query if there's something else that they could do, because even though these accidents are 1 in a million, you have to plan for the 1 in a million accident. And I honestly think they will. I think I'm losing my connection, so because it's just pinwheeling for me now. But, well, what a typical Failcast shit show, eh? What could have been a 1-2 ruined by bugs and glitches and a safety car that no one wanted.
This is true.
But our lap times were very good.
Our lap times were very good. We were competitive, especially in the dry. That could have been juicy. The only kind of silver lining was that in all of that, that did give Daniel Kvyat a 6th place and George Russell a 10th. So
yes,
that gets everyone on the board. So I'll let the AI enjoy that, and we will come back from our 3rd and 4th in the Drivers' Championship. So that wasn't as... I thought we'd drop down further than that, but no. Bottas still leads from Hamilton, and then it's you and then me. So we should be gunning in the new year to come back and give Renault, the banana team, its rightful place at the top of the pile.
We will. And their final season as well.
Yeah, before they become Alpinas. So, I keep forgetting that is even a thing.
Oh, shit. That's who we have to drive for next year, because now you've come up with the name.
Done. Well, that means
you do realise that is who we have to drive for now, because we're not going to come up with a pun that good.
That is true.
For any of the others.
Oh, and then imagine when we go up the rear of a Haas. Oh,
right, next year's going to be good. It's going to be good. Well, thank you, mate, and everyone who joined us. I'm sorry there was no Twitch stream this time, but hopefully my internet is stable next time out, and we can get back to business as usual.
Yeah.
Until then, we obviously both wish you all a very, very happy Christmas and a healthy, happy, and more positive New Year. Love you, bye, I suppose.
Yeah. Love you too. Bye, everybody. I shall catch you all. I'm going to be planning some kind of Christmas Carnage stream potentially tomorrow evening if I can sort it out. Bring drinks, bring snacks. It'll be horrific. But until then, have fun from Failcast. Bye.